One of the most inspirational, forward-looking development meetings ever to take place in Galway in the modern era was organised in September 2021 by the Galway National Park City initiative for the benefit of the councillors and officials of Galway City Council. Chaired by Micheál Ó Cinnéide, ex-director of the Environmental Protection Agency, and formally launched by Mayor Colette Connolly, with the champions of the Galway National Park City in attendance, presentations were made by an array of world-renowned London-based developers, as well as a senior official at Cardiff Council, the chief executive of World Urban Parks and former senior government official in Australia, a former European Union official recently involved in the development of the Green Deal, and the founder of the London National Park City. All these experienced and highly respected individuals spoke of their support of the National Park City designation and the benefits that it could bring Galway.
So that's my main pitch, which hopefully would have answered a few questions. But I understand that there are some sort of concerns about this sort of seeming sort of tension between the environment and the built environment and planning and design. And so we've now got a short video from some sort of 4 key people in London who have been working on planning and design in the city.
Hello, my name is Julian Tollast. I'm the head of master planning and design for Quintain, the property company behind the development of Wembley Park around Wembley Stadium. And also Quintain's involved in many projects in Ireland, particularly around Dublin. Dan has asked me just to say a few words because I was unable to join the meeting today to discuss Galway National Park City, just to talk about the designation of National Park City status in London and what effects that has on development, or what perceived effects it might have on development. I think initially, when one people think of maybe a national park city, you think of something which preserves everything in aspic and is some sort of barrier to development. I think at Quintain we've always sort of taken the opposite view, that it's a positive thing, it's an additive thing, and that development done the right way in context or in conjunction with its natural setting is a positive attribute. And also development which creates new natural landscapes, again, is a massive boost to the setting of an overall town, city or place. So I've slightly deliberately chosen the image behind me on this Zoom recording. It shows the buildings we've been constructing, or some of the buildings we've been constructing around Wembley Stadium as part of the Wembley Park development. And it also shows part of the new 7-acre park in the foreground, which is now half complete. I think this last year, 18 months during the pandemic has really reinforced the importance of providing access to outdoor space, whether it's part of a balcony on a development or a roof garden or a roof terrace, or indeed proximity to open space, be it green or blue. And one of the other things that we're seeking to do is ensure that the new green spaces we're creating at Wembley are linked and connected to the other existing green and blue spaces in the wider area of Brent and northwest London through a very clear system of wayfinding. This really kind of addresses the fundamental aspect of the National Park City, the connect, create, champion, greener, healthier, wilder. So we're connecting people with the green and blue spaces around them. We're connecting them with each other, particularly through things like friends groups and the like. We are creating more of these green and blue spaces, and then we are championing them to the wider audience. In the development, in the London National Park City Development Forum, we have a similar number of like-minded developers who are active in and around the London area, who sort of imbibe by the same principles and see London National Park City status as a positive benefit and asset to the concept of development overall. So I hope that that's helped assuage some of the concerns. I'm sorry again that I can't join you today, but I'd be very happy to answer any more detailed questions you have in the future.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Weaver. I'm part of the team at Fabrics, We're a property investor and developer in London, developing and managing properties in the capital, as well as places further afield such as Manchester, Liverpool and Berlin. The National Park City team in London have asked me to speak to you today to offer our view on how being a National Park City may impact future development. So very, very happy to speak to you. So Fabrics, we are primarily a developer of offices, and we've always had a very strong focus on how to create the most rewarding and healthy workspaces. And this has always been important, but it's come into, I think, a special focus following the pandemic and re-evaluating the way people work. And for Fabrics, a big part of this is the emphasis and introduction or reintroduction of nature into the urban landscape. So after their successful launch in London, we kind of first started collaborating with National Park City as part of their Developers Forum, which is a space for people like Fabrics and other developers to get together, share ideas, share demonstrated projects, and kind of guide the principles of how the built environment can help make our cities greener, healthier and wilder. We've never really found the designation of London as a national park city to be a hindrance. And I think what I would say is, in fact, the principles of National Park City have helped guide us and other developers into designing and delivering projects which really have received unprecedented levels of support during the planning process from residents, from businesses and also from other community organisations. And in fact, what we've seen is the buildings that receive the most accolades or the best tenants and also external financing investment are often the projects that are living by the principles of the National Park City. And I think the team have done a great job in London of, rather than introducing restrictive planning laws, they've placed emphasis on messaging, outreach and collaborating with developers, which has helped us to deliver the buildings in a constructive way. Ultimately, the concept of a National Park City goes far beyond commercial development and should be a force for good in cities. So we would fully support the designation of Galway as a National Park City.
Hello, I'm Natasha Zlobets and I'm a Creative Director at Sectorlight. And I work predominantly with developers, but also with business improvement districts and public sector stakeholders on their brands and communications. And a big part of what I do is looking at how we can connect people with places in a meaningful way, whether that place is a potential home, an office building, or a whole neighbourhood of a city. We've been a supporter of National Park City since its launch, and we've also been a strategic advisor on the Development Forum since its formation. And it's something that, as a business, we feel very passionately about. But we've also seen a huge amount of enthusiasm from our clients toward the National Park City movement as well, since the launch of the movement, but even more so over the last 12 to 18 months, I think fueled in part by changes brought about by the pandemic. One thing that's happened across the country is a significant out-migration from cities, whether that's people buying homes outside of urban centres or people just working from home more and not commuting in. And the public mindset has really changed. Perhaps unsurprisingly, outdoor space and easy access to nature have become much more important, with months of lockdowns fueling demand for more space and a less built-up environment. And with that additional increase in the number of people working from home as well, potentially long term now, as we've seen with a number of businesses embracing flexible working on a permanent basis, there's been a huge increase in demand for greener and healthier development. To the extent that, whereas pre-pandemic we were seeing a number of developers focusing on sustainability and well-being, particularly within the commercial realm, where a large amount of research already exists about the benefits of environmental improvements to businesses, things like increased productivity or the ability to attract and retain talent. What we're seeing now is really across every corner of built environment. We've got developers and placemakers really looking for ways to increase and to promote greener and healthier spaces as a way of engaging their audiences. So, for example, just in the last 6 months among our clients, we've seen the owners of commercial buildings looking for ways to entice people back to the office, in part through what they're doing themselves within the building, but also through what else is happening in the local area around their buildings in the public realm. And we've seen home builders increasing the amount of green space within their schemes, and we've also worked with entire districts on ways to entice visitors back to their retail and F&B and to drive inward investment post-pandemic. You know, a big part of that has really been focused on the importance of creating better, more engaging and more attractive public spaces where people want to spend time. And we've certainly seen that developers and business improvement districts in particular are really recognising, firstly, that there is a huge demand for green and blue spaces within cities, you know, these places that bring people together and enhance well-being. And secondly, that there is a benefit to their bottom line of facilitating that progress as well. You know, people don't want their environments to be grey and dull. They want green, blue and vibrant public and private spaces that work for nature as well as for people. And so the question really, I think, as a developer or indeed as any investor in cities, instead of why, should be why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you embrace a movement that supports these aims? You know, it's certainly something that the public want, and it's something that we at Sectorlight certainly have seen among our clients that developers are very keen to be a part of. And you know, in my view, that can only be a good thing for cities.
Hello, my name is Mike Henderson. I am currently the Regional Director for Sustainable and Resilient Cities at ACON Europe, but shortly I will be becoming Director for Cities and Regeneration at Ramboll. So how could National Park City status impact future development? Well, I think it's not a signal to the world that we're going to be restricting development, but one that the city recognises the qualities required to make a great place to live. It provides a framework for delivering higher quality development and signalling to the world that we take greener, healthier, more livable, climate resilient cities seriously. And while that may be a challenge for the development community as a whole, it's one that we need to rise to.